Let's get more on this now. Our chief political correspondent, Vicky Young, is there for us at Westminster. Vicky.
Well, picking up on that point there about whether this is a matter of principle or a matter of economics, and I think the trouble a lot of people are having is that it's difficult to know how much money any of these changes may or may not raise, if any at all, or whether it would actually lose the Treasury money in the end. Let's find out the views from UKIP and their economic spokesman Patrick O'Flynn. Where do UKIP stand on all of this? Do you think the non-dom status should be abolished?
Well, the most important thing to say is that everyone should pay their fair share of tax into the pot. And I think people who are earning, 12, 15, 20,000 pounds a year and paying significant amount of income tax on that will look askance at arrangements which seem to be sweetheart deals for much wealthier people. So the key test on the non-doms issue is whether it would actually help raise more money for the national purse or whether it would cost money from the national purse. And UKIP has already proposed setting up a Treasury Commission to find new ways to clamp down on corporate tax dodgers. We would want that commission to make an expert and objective report on whether complete abolition of non-dom status would raise extra revenue, in which case we would back it. But to be honest, if it's going to blow a new hole in the national public finances because there would be a huge flight, as some people suggest, then that wouldn't be a sensible course.
Now, Ed Balls seems to have felt in January that there might have been a flight of people and it would cost money. Now Labour are saying they found a way around it with this temporary residency proposal. I mean, what do you make of all of that?
Well, look, it's possible that there are ways round it, but we believe...
Are you then just replacing one thing with another?
Well, perhaps, but we believe there has been expert advice to recent chancellors saying be careful on complete abolition of non-dom status, which is why we say this is something that should be decided by expert, objective opinion, rather than something the country's bounced into by a Labour election stunt. But nonetheless, if the facts say, for instance, inheriting non-dom status, that just seems ludicrous and clearly I think should go. And I do think it's very telling that the Conservative Party has today displayed its political Achilles heel, which really is that it's a party of the rich and well-connected, for the rich and well-connected, and its obsession all day seems to have been showing up Labour rather than addressing the serious underlying issue, which is an issue of whether the powerful and privileged are paying their fair share of tax.
The coalition government would say that they've upped the charges on non-doms. I mean, you could look at it and say, isn't it a much simpler, easier way of getting guaranteed money in by saying, if you want this status, give us 90 grand, or maybe make it a bit higher?
Well, I think that's right, that expert opinion might come to that view, and perhaps the next Chancellor of the Exchequer, whoever that might be, could push that limit a lot higher, and that might be a way of testing the water. However, as I say, the key thing is expert economic opinion objectively delivered, perhaps not in the hurly-burly of a general election, has got to be the best way to decide on this issue, because it really wouldn't be a sensible outcome to do something that sounds brilliantly egalitarian but actually blows a significant hole in public finances which are already under strain.
Okay. Thank you very much, Patrick O'Flynn. Warning UKIP there of the law of unintended consequences, something that might sound good on paper, but in the end, will it mean that the Treasury ends up with more or less cash in its pocket?